All right, welcome, and thank you for joining the Shaping the Channel Demand Organization webinar, a framework for implementing successful global partner programs. My name is Sam Olaf. I'm a Senior Sales Manager from Structured Web, and I'm joined by Laz Gonzalez from Serious Decisions. Just a quick intro on Laz. As Director of Channel Management Strategies, Laz brings a proven track record of executing successful revenue-generating programs through channel sales and marketing. During a career spanning close to almost 2 decades, Laz has gained extensive executive, frontline, and international experience implementing solution-driven sales programs with OEMs, strategic alliances, distributors, and value-added resellers. With that, I'll pass the ball over to you, Laz. We can get started.
Great. Thanks, Sam. Really appreciate your having me part of the organization today and sharing this content that really is about how organizations are really reshaping themselves and how they're creating demand, both in different ways that they do this. So I'm going to share my screen now for everyone to see. So what's the big issue? We're seeing at Serious Decisions that organizations are reacting to many different factors that are forcing them to really look at how they can drive engagement with partners. These can be both internal and external, and we'll get into a little bit of detail about them. But making a move to become more partner-led isn't just saying it, it's also developing the skills internally and understanding the different roles that suppliers need to take on when they're working with the channel and the marketing services providers. So in our experience, we see companies reorganize themselves, reorder the functions and the processes that they use to deliver programs by different types of partners. So what's really great about today is that we're going to share with you the blueprint that organizations utilize when building out their own centralized demand center, and specifically in the channel. And we'll talk about some of the roles that are required in this new partner-led demand center and describe what the organizational functions are, what can be kept internal and external, and also talk about the deliverables. What kind of campaigns, what kind of programs do you offer your different types of partners? So the first thing I wanted to note was, again, what are some of those internal and external drivers? Well, there's a host of them. It could be that you're trying to enter a new market and you're expanding your geography, and now you've got to think about, well, now I need to, have some multi-language support. I might need to work with distributors or agencies to help me work with some of those partners. Another thing that happens is more internally is when you combine and do what some companies call alliance marketing or OEM marketing, and that's where now you're not just marketing through a VAR or a distributor, but you're also now activating all the routes to market that your alliance partner has. So whether they have direct, they have inside, they have field, they have partners, all of those things become activated. Also, new solutions are forcing us to look for different partners in our ecosystems, and new customer segments, really focusing on that mid-market, has woken organizations up to the need to really focus on some of those long-tail partners that service those mid-market companies. So how do we create self-service type approaches, which you'll hear a lot about today in our webcast. So this is what's causing companies to start thinking about, hey, how do I uniformly deliver campaigns across the globe or across different types of partners, considering these things are going to happen? Well, the first thing is let's take a look at what each party brings to the table. And it's clear that the partner is not necessarily being signed up for their marketing capabilities. That is probably the biggest gap they have. And resources like teleservices, list management, the technology, some of those are very, they're not evident in the channel itself. So now suppliers, they bring that counterbalance. So they're bringing into the picture some of the areas that we really want those partners to focus on. So if we start thinking about the supplier, he's got the skills. So we're talking about the manufacturers themselves. They have access to marketing and data. They have access to content and their own teleservices, and even marketing automation. And if they don't have access to that, you'll see how that can get implemented today. But again, they cannot execute alone, right? So one of the things that we really count on the supplier and the partner is to combine forces to bring that centralized capability to that last mile execution. Now, when we do this and when you're planning your demand centers, you have to sort of think about what's going to be served on the menu. And I like to say that the approach you should take is really starting with the customer. So understand your customer and the routes to market that you use to reach that customer, and think about what kind of marketing you'll need to reach those different customers. Now, for example, with major accounts, these are existing customers for some of the bigger partners like alliances, maybe systems integrators and outsourcers, or very big direct partners. Here, we're going to try and do some account-based marketing or maybe some influencer marketing, which will help our partners reach these high-level executives at these large companies. As we move down market and we look at, for example, the general territory, now there's going to be a greater mix in terms of the partner types. We'll see corporate resellers, we'll see value-added resellers, we'll see distributors, no doubt a mixed partner model. And here, what we want to be is flexible in terms of creating our campaigns. So we see things that sort of what companies call hybrid marketing. And what does that mean? It's really addressing both sides, those high-touch customers that would require, some account-based approach, and those low-touch customers that are pretty much going to be reached through inbound marketing and maybe even some outbound through the partner. Now, in that case, we want to have those campaigns ready to go. Now, as we move down market where we really start working with smaller partners who have less marketing capabilities, there it's about helping them tell their story and get their name out. And we want their customers to find them no matter when. So whether they're surfing the web at night or in the office looking for alternatives or really starting to use marketing as a way of reaching those customers that might be at any moment looking for the type of solution that you offer. And again, it's creating that perpetual demand, thinking about inbound marketing, pull marketing, and even making sure that you just keep the lights on as far as it goes to marketing with these smaller partners. Now, this is how you strategically start thinking about what to deliver, but you should end up with something like this, a menu customized for each market segment. And think of that being what you're going to deliver to a different partner. So, for example, if you're going after that SMB partner, right, now we're going to be thinking about the tactic support that perpetual inbound marketing that we were talking about before. So, for example, the 42% leans towards those content syndication, search engine optimization, and maybe even web nurturing. As we look down market, we have nurturing, acceleration. Well, no doubt, these customized menus need to be created for the different market types that we have, but you also have to think about what could stand in your way. So there are some obstacles that you have to consider. So, for example, we often hear that companies are using, some marketing automation already with the direct side of the business, or they need to integrate with Salesforce automation systems or partner relationship management systems. Sometimes there's either too much technology or too little technology. And it's not just the technology, it's the proficiency in these tools. So, for example, we always hear about companies wanting to get closed-loop measurements back into their lead repositories. Well, if you don't have systems that talk to each other where you can pass that lead information, it's going to be very difficult for you to move forward from here. Now, in terms of knowledge, it's really important that we also think about, the skilled resources that we're going to need. And by this, I mean that many times we find field marketers and channel marketers playing the role of execution. So really helping the partner execute in the last mile. And while that's helpful, it doesn't scale. And what we really want to make sure is they can play the role of a PMO, or somebody who can actually manage and coordinate the services necessary to create all these wonderful programs that we're going to be developing during the course of our campaigns. Now, there's some operational issues that you have to think about before you move forward, and they happen to deal with the incentives and also the data. Let's talk about incentives first. One of the things that we might need to think about is whether or not we can create the programs using the budgets that we've set aside. And the only thing that could stop you is if that money isn't yours. And if that money isn't yours, it belongs to the partner in some kind of contra-based incentive, which could mean that you really can't spend it for them or even suggest how they spend it. The key there would be to make sure that you budget accordingly. You could always measure against revenue, but make it flexible so that you could create some of these customized menus. The other issue is data governance, and many people come to us and say, well, you know, we can't get the partner to share our data, or share their data. Well, that's true. But are you telling them how you're going to use that data? Do they know it's only going to be likely to be used in this campaign? And by the way, the data will actually be better after you process it. Maybe you can eliminate redundancy and duplication and scrub the data, give it back to them in a much better shape than they offered it to you. Those are the kinds of things that build that trust that can overcome some of these data governance issues. Now, as we start looking forward and thinking about how channel marketing needs to transform, we're going to look at 4 cornerstones of this transformation. And in one of them, we'll get into the functional roles. But first of all, the first thing you need to do to become more of a, let's call it a centralized demand center thinking, is to really adopt this partner-led approach. And we'll show what that means. Also, it's to change the role of that channel marketer from execution to more planner and coordinator. And then think about not just online, but offline too. There are many other capabilities that are needed to really be supported through the demand center. So remember, it's not just digital marketing. It could also be telemarketing and other types of things that you want to support for follow-ups. And I'll challenge the folks on the line today to think about, you know, those internal resources that they have and what external resources they can leverage. So let's talk about the first one, that partner-led approach. And let's be clear what we mean here. A partner-led approach is one that guides partners through the demand creation process, literally guides them through the building and execution. It's also being able to create plays created with a lot of that partner and field input that is supported by third parties. So a lot of companies come to us and say, well, I want to create my own partner demand center. What do I need to build in-house? And so you'll see that sometimes you don't build all of the capabilities in-house. You work with key third parties that become strategic. Now, we've seen the opposite, where companies really become, over-distributed with their concierge-like functions, and it's important that you really keep that down to a manageable sum. But this is what we call partner-led, guiding the partner through. And again, this is a philosophical difference. It's not field marketing executing plays for partners, and neither is it partners trying to create this on their own, right? So whether it's the partner or even enlisting the sales teams to come and help them execute last mile, this is not partner-led. Again, partner-led is the partner is driving that last mile execution, but you're helping them and assisting them along the way. And it really requires a partner-led approach. And that means that you have to focus on engagement. And you're going to hear a little bit later in some of the examples that we'll give you how a subscription model really can be used to take more of an opt-out than an opt-in. You know, our saying is make them say no rather than continually asking the partner to opt in and say yes. So partners subscribe one, we automate the process, and then you focus on their experience, introducing them to tools that help them get the job done. We don't want to make them better marketers. We want to make them better marketers with us. So that's really the key there. Now, an example of this partner-led is just helping the partner tell their story with the right content as they provide value to the buyer along their journey. So as you seed, you nurture, you enable the buyer, there's going to be different assets and content that you'll leverage. And you can see that we're not in a hurry to deliver this content. In fact, here in a 5-touch program, you can see how after a period of 2 months, there is a challenge, there is a video, there could be some enablement, and not until you get to the 5th step do you make the offer. And that's important because at that point, you've got somebody who probably scores high in your marketing automation platforms or in your lead generating process here, and we want to be able to strike while the iron's hot, but not before and not too late after. Now, in order to make that offer, we have to start thinking about what would be the role for channel marketing. So now the role can vary, and we've identified really 4 roles for channel marketing. The first one is what we call the self-service enabler, and this particular role is focused on low-touch partners. So when you take on this self-service role, you're helping those smaller partners keeping the lights on with marketing. There's also the channel advisor. Now, the channel advisor works in OEM type or ISV type where 2 manufacturers are getting together, and there's a much more customized message, and it's for a targeted set of customers as well. Companies who build out centralized demand center functions where they have a marketing automation platform like the one you'll see today, and also the services all lined up, we know that's a very coordinated model. And the things you can do, the types of programs you can deliver are much richer in terms of content, and they vary by tactic. So that's where we take on that program coordinator role, really marshaling all these functions to drive a desired result. Now, if you're entering a new market and it's just the opposite, it's totally decentralized, we call that the field execution specialist, and that's where channel marketing is working close with the partner, directing all the resources to the specific activities. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at all 4 of these roles and describe how they come into play. So again, the self-service is really for low touch, and there we're going to be looking at a lot of low touch deliverables. The builder is going to be more solutions focused, and here we're going to focus on a very a smaller set of customers. Tactics won't vary as much. Here, the coordinator has a lot of their disposal, more centralized approach to demand creation, and then ultimately you've got the field execution role, and that's going to be very decentralized. And here we're going to see in a decentralized model leveraging a lot of these outside agencies who really can fill in the gaps where the supplier doesn't have resources of their own. So what I'd like to do is go into some deep dives here and share with you 4 scenarios of these different demand centers. And as you start thinking about which one am I, think about your target customer and then think about your partner and route to market. So again, this is pretty interesting. Let's start defining that demand center. So what is it that we hear about? Folks saying, we have a partner demand center, come and market with us. Well, let me describe to you what it consists of. Along the bottom, the demand center has infrastructure. It has automation that can help create marketing programs. It also has a data repository where common lists or lists can be uploaded, or they can be actually divided by different types of partners. So this data management becomes really important. And then there are web services, creating the content for landing pages and maybe a customized message for each partner. Those web services are either going to be performed by you or some third party or even the partner in some cases. Now, above that, you have teleservices. And aside from the traditional teleservices that you would think about, like an inside sales or telemarketer, the teleservices in the channel play different roles. For example, they could be doing partner communications, reaching out to those partners and enlisting them into the programs. They could also be doing lead follow-up, so doing some qualification as well with leads themselves. And they could also be creating the tactic itself, so they could be doing appointment setting, whatever the case might be. Now, you can see that that's important that they also connect to both the marketing automation, the data management, and the web services, because you want to create an integrated program. Now, above that, there are 2 main areas of focus for the supplier and the partner. The first one is putting the campaigns together. And that's really the job of the supplier for the most part, or at least the key messages when two suppliers are working with each other. And then there's the content syndication. Ultimately, you want to find a way of creating your content and then moving it out to the channel so that they can leverage it, so that they can put their name on it and maybe share that with their customers. So these are some of the key roles. And if we were to consider the low-touch channel, so remember, this is your long-tail partners. These are the folks that don't have a lot of marketing capabilities. Now, in this role, what we have to think about is what would be internal and what would be external. Now, chances are that if you're working with low-touch channels, some of the external capabilities like teleservices, marketing automation, data management, web services, you'll rely on some key agencies to help you. You might keep the data and the marketing automation to yourself, but your real focus is going to be around campaign assembly and content syndication. So think of it this way. If you have a demand center, the demand center is focusing on content and syndicating that content and then moving it out to the channel, making sure that there's teleservice capabilities involved, that there is a marketing automation platform, and also some data management. And externally, you're going to get some help from, third parties to help you with the marketing automation, the marketing services, the incentives management, and even the list management. So again, this is low-touch channels. And in the low-touch channels, again, there's a unique menu. So channel marketing takes on the role of the self-service enabler, but the programs that they create, you're going to see, are going to be rich in digital format. So you'll see a lot of inbound programs, pay-per-click, web nurturing. You'll see the nurturing also dialed up in terms of microsites and content syndication. I know for a fact that the structured web folks have a really great example on this that they're going to share with you in a few minutes. Also, let's say this changes now, and now you're talking about two suppliers. And, when two companies get together and they start using their resources like the demand center, it really isn't up to the company to create the end-to-end campaign. A lot of times they'll create the content and the assembly instructions and hand that over to the other company's marketing automation and marketing teams. And externally, they will focus on the content syndication, teleservices, and their own marketing automation and tools for data and web services. So again, in an ISV OEM channel, now you have less control because you're passing over the content and the instruction manual to your partner, who's another big supplier, and they have their own marketing departments. So they may take those key messages or think about how you've structured your three-touch campaign and follow that format. So that's why it's important for you to really fill out what the seeding messages are going to be, what your nurturing steps are going to be, what kind of sales enablement you'll be providing, and then also the demand creation, which really are the four roles for marketing. And now here, remember, when you're working with these accounts, you're usually upselling or cross-selling your solution to the other supplier's customer base. And now you're going to see a lot more sales-driven campaigns. You'll see events and content offers, and that's why down here you'll see 40% of that mix goes towards these types of programs. You'll also see more pipeline acceleration and sales enablement, teaching the other organizations routes to market, how to deliver the right message to the customer, how to deal with some of the objections and some of the questions they might have, and also introducing some pipeline acceleration. So, for example, maybe there's a try and buy, maybe there's a financial stimulus offer, something that you can offer through your supplier to act quickly and help sales, especially when those deals are reaching fruition. Now, you also see that there is some digital marketing, and there's what we call here small net fishing. That just means that we're focused on a smaller set of customers now, and those customers can be really important that we bring them in and we offer them certain types of offers that we normally wouldn't offer to a new customer. Now, in a centralized role, we saw two. Remember, the first one was more of a self-service. The second one was two big companies getting together, and how does the demand center work there? This third one now is really centralized. And here what we're saying is that most of the functionality in the demand center is in-house. So if you're building out your demand center internally now, this is you. And most of the capabilities you're going to bring in-house so that you could scale them out and give access to partners through some kind of portal. You're going to be able to do content syndication, a nurturing plan for each one of your campaigns. It'll be the role of channel marketing to manage all vendors, because even though your capabilities are in-house, you're still going to have to work with an organization on the automation, the data, the web services. In other words, there's agencies and technology companies involved here. But you'll have more capabilities. You'll have more web reporting, more lead management. And when you do go external, it'll be to work with organizations to offer some of those last mile services. So maybe you work externally with an organization to give you concierge services in another language, or walk partners through another campaign and scale that up. Now, in the centralized role, you're going to see a much more even distribution of tactics. When we think about inbound, nurture, accelerate, and direct here, now we see a much more diversified set of tactics, with 60% of those tactics leveraging a lot of the digital plays. So you can see digital marketing, content syndication, email, web, social media, but we don't loosen up on the pipeline acceleration because we still have those, and we also have direct offers that we're going to make, not all the time, but when sales needs it in their particular stimulus programs. Now, the last one we're going to look at is decentralized. It's just the opposite of what we just saw. And here, everything is really outsourced. You're only creating the campaigns and passing them out. And what this actually means is that the field needs to also work with a key group of organizations themselves, teleservices, maybe even their own marketing automation, or maybe some of the data being worked locally, for example. Those are going to be really key roles, and the field's going to direct a lot of that. And from a demand center standpoint, you may just be delivering the campaign itself. So we see this, for example, when an organization builds a worldwide demand center and then they start working with another region like APAC, and then they'll have to translate content. So maybe there's some content that they can create, have it translated through automation, and then it also needs to be tweaked at the other end. So they pass this content and the assembly instructions to the APAC team. The APAC team uses it with some key organizations that they work with, until they build out a regional demand center out there. And then they can bring a lot of those services in-house as well. So there, again, you're going to see a lot of reliance on third parties. You're going to see a lot of hybrid marketing activities, search engine optimization, content syndication, email marketing driven by agencies that can run these campaigns, opt-in programs, some sales enablement as well, and a lot of this appointment setting and event marketing happening with a lot more control being driven in that last mile. All right, so this gives you a feel for four scenarios, and I'd just like to give you a couple of takeaways, because in a second, we're going to see how we can take some of these flexibility issues and best practices and see them how they work in real life. So I just want you to remember, if you're in marketing, think about the demand center as an execution framework that can significantly impact marketing's results with fewer, more integrated programs. Now think about that, because it is not just a technology. The demand center is a set of services and functions with key roles for channel marketing. And many times we get organizations that they call their technology the demand center. And I'm not saying that that's wrong, but know that it goes beyond that. And realize that what the demand center should be delivering are very prescriptive programs, right? That you're not building a kitchen for somebody to come and cook on it. What you are building is a restaurant, and you're serving a finished meal. So make sure that you don't make the partner do all the cooking, because you know what will happen then? They will not take the meal, and the adoption is always an issue. So take a prescriptive approach. Now, if you're in sales and you're thinking about these demand centers and how they can work, the important thing is to work with marketing to deliver the right set of menus. More often than not, marketing guesses what they could use, and it doesn't really work with the way the partner sells, and the sales team could tell you that. Also, remember, better visibility cannot be automated. You can go a long way in capturing data, but you still need some of those concierge services to have a conversation with the partner and see what some of those results are. So what I want to do now is I want to give you guys a chance to see this in action. And so Sam is ready at the controls, and he's going to take over the screen now, and he's going to take you through a little bit of structured web and how they're actually making this real for their customers. Sam, you there?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Les. That was very insightful. I appreciate that. Just before we get started, I just wanted to provide a little bit of background around structured web, just for some who may be a little bit unfamiliar. What we are, structured web provides marketing solutions and services to help global brands, whether that be through OEMs, vendors, distributors, partners, etc. We help them to drive more revenue through their indirect sales channels. Now, just to go off a little bit of what Laz was speaking about, what is the Partner Demand Center, right? Now, what we have found is that the Partner Demand Center has to support and has to, feel like home for a lot of your different partners, whether that be through your smaller, your mid-size, or your larger partners. As we all know, different partners have different needs. For your smaller partners, for example, you might not want to put in that much investment to them. So giving them some sort of subscription marketing, whether that be through content syndication, social marketing, or Google retargeting, to have marketing going out, very low touch, not really giving them much to do, not sending out, massive email campaigns, having something running on the side on their behalf. For your mid-sized partners, working in a more of a collaborative model. So what do we mean by that, right? Working with some of our customers who have these mid-sized partners, they provide them with ready-made marketing campaigns, multi-touch tactics so they can send out the campaigns through various different forms of marketing. And finally, enabling these partners with marketing tools in order to better promote their brand along with the vendor as well. And then finally, for your larger partners, what we have seen here is that a resource center is very beneficial for them. So providing them with raw materials such as copy blocks, images, white papers, content that's very easy to be downloaded. These larger partners, these ISVs, these OEMs like to use their own systems. They have already marketing, execution systems in place. So by giving them content to download, not only can they send it off of their own systems, but they can customize it. A lot of these larger partners have unique branding, so being able to tinker with the materials and send it out on their own, it gives them, some sort of support as well. Now, what we've seen really are flexible coverage options that help with all three forms of the different partners that you're supporting. The first would be this self-service portal. In this self-service portal, content, you really want to promote new campaigns in a timely manner to these partners. So what the self-service portal allows is for the vendors and the OEMs to market to their partners, right? We all know that just because we have a portal doesn't necessarily mean that partners will go in and engage with them. So it's very important to let them know that there's new content available, make fresh content consistently appear to them so these partners can go in and send it out on their own. The second model here is the marketing concierge. With this, you really want to promote the marketing concierge in growing partners, right? So partners that you want to invest in, partners that you know are driving a large amount of sales for your specific products. So with the marketing concierge, you're able to schedule marketing campaigns on their behalf, provide them with higher levels of marketing support in order to ensure them, that you're there for them. You're really as a fallback option to provide any type of flexible coverage that this partner needs. And finally, it's important to offer these partners who you're supporting with a marketing concierge with localized content that will be translated and automated out on their behalf. And then finally, for your larger partners, we really like to see the full-service agency marketplace. In this marketplace, it's once again for your partners with their unique branding. They're able to go in, get predefined, preset marketing content that can be highly customized to their liking, send out this marketing with predefined workflows. And what this allows also is working with the agencies inside of the marketplace. It better enables you to track MDF because it's all done in one place and on one platform. Now, there's one more model, which, Laz, you referred to, that the distributor comes into play, where it's unique. The distributor is unique to the channel marketing space. So what we have found using structured web is that with the distributor, they're kind of a forgotten but growing part of the entire channel ecosystem, right? So what the distributor is mainly there for is to help. It's to help utilize the content. It's to help make the content available to the channel partners, promote new content to the partners, to let them know, that their brand or their solution is ever changing. So what we want to do is enable the distributor in order to deploy marketing in local markets, right? With this arrow right here, we want to help the distributor to market with the partner, market through the partner to the end customer. So it's really helping to promote new solutions to partners, marketing through the partners to the end customers, and utilizing that distributor to help grow your channel. Now, when you're presenting marketing to the channel, it's very important that it's channelized content. One of our larger customers came to us with content that's very end customer facing for vendor-led marketing. And unfortunately, in the beginning stages of their pilot, they didn't really see such fantastic results because the content was not meant for the channel. So our advice, our best practice advice, is to make sure that all of the content here is for the channel. And what do we mean by that, right? The customization with effective content. Make sure that this type of marketing has the right message. Make sure that the message can, most importantly, be translated and localized into their specific market. So if they're marketing in, EMEA or APJ, this content has to be translated and localized for easy digestion by the partner to send out on their own. Okay. Now, as we all know, the most important thing to offer to your channel partners and to offer through your channel marketing and to shape this demand generation program is more than one marketing tactic. Now, with this comprehensive demand center, there are other marketing tactics that you can offer. So you're not just sending out emails. You're not just blasting out events. You have to tie all of these in together. So what we're going to look at here is enabling the right partners with the right strategy. So setting a prescriptive mix of marketing services in order to let partners successfully execute in their market with a specific buyer's journey. So just an example of something that we have done, and this is all public information that's on our blog, so you can take a look at this, but for the Cisco Marketing Concierge program specifically. What we have done is work with the marketing concierge, work with the distributors through the marketing concierge model in order to help partners to tell their story. So first, creating demand generation emails with an associated landing page. This is specifically something that we designed for the FlexPod campaign. What the landing page does is then it's tagged with a Google retargeting code. So when the end customer moves around the web, they'll see these FlexPod display ads on specific websites. For example, they'll click on that display ad and be brought to a form which they can fill out and get a white paper or, attend an event. Now, once they fill out that form, what's next is an email nurture stream that's automatically going to be sent out to, on behalf of the partner, to the end customer. And when everything is sent out automated, like Laz said, providing them with not only the menu, but also cooking for them and sending out this on their behalf, we've seen tremendous results in partner engagement and ultimately, more leads converted into closed orders. Now, for example, if the end customer signs up through this form, they get sent on the email nurture stream, they're brought to the partner site promoting the specific webinar. With this, on the registration page as well, and then finally sending out those webinar reminder emails when the end customer signs up for the webinar on the partner site. Sending out all this information on behalf of the partner ensures that the partner will do it because you really take them out of the equation. On the back end, work inside of one platform with the lead management, and finally send out post-event or post-webinar marketing materials, for example, the thank yous and the sorry we missed yous. Now, the most important thing here is that all of this is done inside of that comprehensive demand center. So all of the data and all of the information is captured in one spot. So you're really able to track those marketing trends, get that marketing analytics for your entire channel in one place. So just some results for this distributor enablement programs. What we've seen for the Cisco Concierge specifically, partner engagement increased by 75% because all of the marketing was being done, once again, through that marketing concierge model. And then based on the specific goals that Cisco had provided us before the program, we had increased their SQLs by a whopping 431%. Just an example here as well, just that login page and that landing page for the FlexBot campaign specifically. Okay. What I want to touch on next is the subscription marketing and how important that is to enable your channel partners. Now, for social media syndication specifically, we have seen partner subscriptions increase by 50%. And the reason for that is it's much easier to make a partner say no once rather than make a partner say yes, 50, 100 times. Now, how does this work? The marketing is automatically going to be run on their behalf in a subscription manner. Think of it like a magazine subscription where you apply or subscribe to a certain feed, and then marketing will automatically go out through the partners. Now, what we have seen is that giving the partners the ability to opt out of a post rather than necessarily opt in, like we said here, increases that participation by 50%. So how does this work? At the beginning of each week, partners will get a list of all of the social media tweets or all of the marketing that's set to go out on their behalf. Since they're automatically opted in, they could ignore the email and the marketing will still go out on their behalf. Now, they can go through all the tweets, all of the Facebook posts, all of the LinkedIn posts, and opt out of a specific post if it doesn't fit their specific market. But once again, if they don't do that, the marketing will still go out and they will still have a voice and a presence inside of the market. Okay? Now, what we're going to touch on now is a real nice timeline to success or a practical plan to build and launch a partner program. What we've seen and our best practice is that it typically takes around 60 to 90 days to plan, to onboard, or to promote this program to your channel. So in these first 3 months, it's very important to develop your content strategy and messaging, perhaps work with 1 or 2 product types to create these marketing assets. Use this time to promote the new program to your partners, onboard the partners, and train the programs on how to use a marketing automation system. In months 3 through 6 is where that first phase of the pilot program should run. Inside of this time frame, organize the assets, split them up by specific product type, by specific marketing tactic. Launch the program with a small subset of partners, and then use that to market through those subset of partners. And then initially monitor those initial results so you can see exactly in the upcoming months how to enhance and optimize those assets. Months 6 to 9, like I just said, optimize those assets, adjust them to get some better results, review the performance across your partners, across your assets in different territories to make sure that you're getting those results that you ultimately would like to get. So, and then after that, in months 9 through 12, as Maria Chen likes to say on her webinars, wash, rinse, and repeat. Scale the program out to new partners. Add new product types, add new programs or solutions or products categories to really utilize this program and to scale it out. The most important thing, all of these tactics, all of these, marketing messaging, rinse them out, strip all the content, put new ones in, and send it out once again. We've really seen some nice results here. And I'll touch on a quick success story after I just sum up what we covered today. So first, most important thing, create scalability. Your partner demand center, like we said, each partner has different needs, and you would like to support them all equally using one platform. Next, make sure that you're providing the right support, whether that be through a self-service model, a marketing concierge model, or a full-service marketplace to make sure that your smaller, your mid-size, and your large partners are all getting that right support and that right coverage model inside of the partner demand center. Once they're getting all of that support, it's important to remember that demand generation is through multiple different touch points. In this day and age, it's important to keep the partner active, whether that be through social media, through content syndication, emails, or events. It's important to keep on touching end customers and prospects with different forms of marketing. And then finally, like we said, wash, rinse, and repeat. Use that marketing content, use the programs and the scalability that you can market out through your partners, and use that through 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 different product categories so you can really see those results and drive revenue. Okay, so just a quick customer success story before we wrap up. One of our larger enterprise customers started with a quick pilot, or smaller pilot, I should say, of around 100 partners for that 6-month time frame. After they've seen the success that they wanted to, they increased this program to 500 partners through 3 tiers of partners support, and then through that global program. So just some of the numbers that they've seen over a multi-year period. With asset development, using that wash, rinse, and repeat model, they've gotten the asset development down from 3 months prior to using a structured web solution down to 1 week. And that's because the automated translation, making sure that all of the content and all of the messaging is channel focused rather than vendor to end customer. Using the Marketing Concierge, we've seen partner engagement jump from 7% to 76%. And with that, you're having partners, each different type of partner providing support in that different manner. The smaller partners through the self-service, the mid-size and larger partners, the growing partners, I should say, through the Marketing Concierge, and finally those ISVs, those OEMs, giving them that resource center to go in, to download content, and then to execute it off of their own system. Since so many different support models are covered inside of one partner demand center, the partner engagement has risen almost 70%. Since more partners are engaged, since better quality leads are being generated, we've seen actually lead conversion jump to 5x prior to using structured web. With this, it's not a magic wand, it's not a magic solution, but the more partners are engaged, the better marketing content you're sending out, the more qualified leads that distributors, partners, and vendors are generating for the entire channel program, more leads are getting converted. Finally, using the Marketing Concierge option, using the Distributor Concierge option, using that push mentality of pushing marketing content through your channel partners to the end customer, we've seen partner coverage jump from 1 person covering 10 partners to 1 person ultimately cover around 100 partners sending out marketing on their behalf. And finally, the most important number here, channel ROI, we've seen jump to about 20x using the different support models and the Marketing Concierge, as well as the all-inclusive partner demand center that we discussed earlier in the program. Now, how do we get started? Very simple. Either shoot me an email at sam.olaf@structuredweb.com, reach out to Laz, see if you can get some more information as well at laz.gonzalez@seriousdecisions.com. And we thank you for joining the Shaping the Demand Channel Demand Organization webinar. Laz, we did have a couple of questions come in. Would you like me to read them and you can start off?
Yeah, sure. What do you got?
Sure. So the first question, what happens if I already have or I'm already working with a third-party external agency?
Okay. So most organizations that do take on a demand center have this type of situation because they're looking to centralize some of the services and work with less, more focused agencies. So I think that, like I said before, when I laid out the blueprint, that the agency plays a critical role. So again, don't think of the demand center as just being technology. Part of it is the agency services. And what most companies do is they literally train their agencies on using the tools. So they want to make sure that when they create the portals, not only can they be used by the partners themselves, but they can be used by some of the agencies to do some of the administrative or maybe some of the content work that needs to be done on the pieces. So I think that it fits right in. There is no obstacle there that I can see.
Right. Just to piggyback off of that, Laz, that was a perfect response. On the structured web platform, one of our strategies is, like Laz referred to, that BYOA strategy, the bring your own agency. So Laz, just like you said, training the agency to work on the platform, getting them familiar with all the different marketing content, the creating marketing assets, et cetera, on that same platform allows for a much easier collaboration between agencies, between distributors, and most importantly, between your channel partners. Okay. Next question to come in. I think we have time for 2 more here. How do distributor concierge programs differ from partner marketing concierge programs? Laz, I'll take this one. Really,
Sure.
The main difference is that distributor concierge focuses on providing your distributors rather than your channel partners with the right high-quality content and campaign strategies that they can take, repurpose, and customize. So, in short, it lets the distributors take your marketing, adjust it to their partners, to their local markets, and obviously, since the distributors are working within those local markets, they know, the best messaging to send out. And this is why a distributor concierge program is so effective, because it leverages all of the distributors' local knowledge, their relationships, and most importantly, their expertise. Okay. And finally here, one last question. How is subscription marketing different than marketing automation? Liz, you want to split this one up, or I can take it?
Again, I'll just start with the why. Why is subscription marketing important? And it's really about loyalty and adoption. And we find that if you take a build it and they will come approach, they just don't come as often as you want them to. So creating ways that, you get the partner to come to fill out some minor information, like maybe share the credentials for their LinkedIn accounts or whatever it is, and then being able to do things like syndicate content, retarget, et cetera, through those accounts and asking them to, hey, you can approve this stuff and make sure that it goes to the right people, or if you do nothing, it'll just move out. We'll work off your profile, and it will be distributed to your target customers. I think that's a really good thing because it does drive up a lot of adoption.
Exactly. And really similar concepts can be done with email nurturing, sending out intelligently automated nurture streams where these emails run automatically, responds dynamically to content, and to the correct position to where the customer is in the buyer's journey. We've seen some very effective results with that as well. Okay, so I think that's all the time that we have today. Thank you all for attending. Thank you, Laz. I really appreciate you coming on to this webinar and shedding some more light onto this. It's been very informative.
All right, thanks, and thanks for having me. Take care, everyone.
Take care, everyone. Thanks.